lose yourself in a good book. The Bord Gáis Energy Book Club.
Now, are you an aspiring writer who is looking to get started, or are you struggling to complete a new writing project that you've already begun? A new programme has just been launched, which promises to bring expert advice from established writers to those of you who are just starting out, with resources provided online and on DVD. Now, this morning we're going to find out more about the project, and we're joined by Vanessa O'Loughlin, who developed the programme, and Sinead Moriarty, who will be imparting her wisdom to emerging writers. Good morning to you both, and Happy New Year to you. Now, this is all part of the Dublin UNESCO City of Literature, the overall or overarching project. So, Vanessa, tell us about that first of all, and then this Aspiring Writers or Emerging Writers programme.
Okay, well, Dublin City of Literature is a fantastic recognition, I suppose, of Dublin and the great writers that have been that have come out of Dublin. And it isn't something that just lasts for a year; it's something that goes on forever. So,
4 Nobel winners of literature from one city. Is there any other city in the world that can do that?
No, I don't think so. 4 Man Booker winners too, which is not a bad record, really. So really the idea of the programme is to try and build on that incredible success that we have had, and give new writers a bit of a leg up, give them a bit of a start in life. And it's very much done underneath the auspices of the UNESCO Dublin City of Literature team, and the Library Service are very involved in the whole thing.
Okay, so that's the project, the umbrella project, so to speak. What is this going to do? How is it going to help? Because I mean, there's all these kind of cliches and all the rest of it that are thrown around the place. They're all sure everybody in Ireland has a book in them. Some people would say, and that's where I should stay. but it seems like everybody, every man and his dog and woman and her dog seem to be able to write a book. So how do you get that out? How do you put it? Because it is a business. That's, I think, what people tend to forget is that, it's this great creative literary endeavour and I'll just put it all down, it'll be fine. But getting it into shape and making it readable by other human beings and then marketing it and all the rest of it, that's a whole industry and a very complex one.
It is, absolutely. I mean, it is a huge business. But I think really for people who are starting out writing, the thing is not to be worrying about the business yet. The key is to get the words on the page, get the book finished, get it drafted, get it redrafted, get it polished, and then you can start worrying about the business side of it. So really this programme is very much for new writers who are starting up, who've maybe got an idea, who don't quite know where to go with it. We've actually got the sort of central section, which is called Telling the Story, and the final section, Revising and Rewriting, they're really for sort of writers who maybe have written a little bit and or maybe finished that first draft and who really want to know how to polish it and how to go move on with it. So we've tried to cover everything from people who are absolutely starting out and don't know where, have a blank screen in front of them, right the way through to maybe people who've got a first draft and who need some help with that too. And what we've done is we've taken 3 really experienced writers from 3 different genres, and we've brought them together to try and give their opinions, because one of the things that I've learned, certainly I run a company called Inkwell and I've been running workshops for years now. One of the things I've learned over the years is that writers all have different ways of doing things, but none of them are right and none of them are wrong. They're all their own way, and one of the ways new writers can learn is to hear all the different ways that people are doing things and then take from that what works for them, really.
Well, speaking of which, we've got one of you've got it's Carla Gebler, Declan Hughes and Sinead Moriarty who will be providing the advice. Sinead, it's very interesting that I must interview 2 or 3 writers a week and have done for the last 13 years. Every single one of them is different. It's different from each other as fingerprints are. So whatever advice you give me may be wonderful for you, but it won't necessarily be for me. So how do you approach something like this?
Well, the very interesting thing about this is that when I watched it back myself, I learned a lot listening to Carlo and Declan. So you're always going to learn from other people's experiences. And what's great about what I think about this is for aspiring writers is that a lot of the feelings and emotions that they have, like halfway through a book when they decide they hate the book and they don't want to continue, every writer feels that. So I think it's very important. People are going to look at this and go, oh, okay, so it doesn't mean it's a disaster. I just have to keep going. There's always a lull in the middle of the book. It also gives you kind of very good specific tips if you are writing already. So I myself, I've been writing for 10 years and I learned a lot from watching and listening to Carlo and Declan. So I think this is absolutely invaluable, and I would have loved to have something like this when I was starting out. I joined a creative writing group and that was incredibly helpful for me. But the beauty of this is you can just click onto your computer and you can have all this information at home. And it doesn't matter if you're too young to get out or too old to get out. All this information is now at your fingertips, and I think that's what's really brilliant about this. It's accessible to absolutely everybody, and it has all the information you need, from literally turning on your computer to finishing the book. So really, I think it's a gem. I would have loved this when I was starting out.
Well, the interesting thing is that your mother was a professional writer.
Yes, she was.
So you were watching a pro at work, and it took you a long time before you actually decided to dip your toe, though, didn't it?
It did, yeah, and that was a lack of confidence. You know, I didn't really feel that I had anything to say until really.
Well, no, that's the question I was going to ask both of you, because you can teach all of these tricks. You can teach them how to edit, how to shape the story, how to whatever, beginning, middle, and end. But how do you know that the initial idea is actually worth telling in the first place? Because you know this thing of like, oh, everybody has a story. Yeah, maybe they do, but not everybody wants to read it or hear about it. You know, how do you know it's worthwhile actually writing about it?
I think it's a case of getting it down on the page and then shaping it. And I think every story has merit, and every story has everybody wants to read. You know, there will be people out there who want to read it. When you're sending stuff out to agents and publishers, you get rejected all the time. And one of the things for writers to understand very early on is that rejection's really part of the deal. But because writing really is subjective, so while you might not like the story, I might love it. You know, so it's really a case of, if you have a story, get it down there, write it, and then shape it and add to it and build your characters.
What about a 1 or 2 page brief, or maybe even a chapter of it, and put that down there and see, maybe give that to other people and use their reaction as a gauge of whether you should actually pursue this particular story? Because maybe the first story you want to tell isn't the one that everybody else. Maybe there's another one that you're not even thinking about.
Well, I personally think it's very important, certainly for your first book, to plot it out, because then you'll realise where the pitfalls are, where the holes are, and you'll actually realise if the story is strong enough to have a whole book, to create a whole book from. So I would certainly recommend for your first book to actually plot it out, because that's when you see the loopholes. Okay,
actually it is, I mean, as a tool, just for anybody who just enjoys the exercise of writing, it's a wonderful thing, and it's a great thing to have. How do people get it, Vanessa?
Basically, you can download it online, so it's free to get online through writing.ie and the Dublin City of Literature website. And it's also going to be it's on DVD in all the libraries. We've copies of the DVD, probably getting a load of glare on it now, but the DVD is available in every library in the country, so people can borrow it from there.
Thank you both very much indeed. Now, this month we are asking you to send us a review of any book that you read and enjoyed over the Christmas period. So we're not picking it for you. You pick one and you tell us why you loved it so much. Reviews should be no longer than 50 words. So you better be good at editing. The prize is a stylish BlackBerry playbook. It's up for grabs. So to enter, simply send us a review by Friday the 25th of January, and they should be emailed to irelandm@tv3.ie or sent by post to Bord Gáis Energy Book Club, TB3 Westgate Business Park, Ballymount, Dublin 24. You can also enter through our website, tv3.ie/book club.
Lose yourself in a good book. The Bord Gáis Energy Book Club.